So welcome everyone, myself Bharat Sharma, and today we are going to discuss the last topic of the blood supply of the gut, that is the portal vein, and related to it is very important topic, that is portal hypertension, and then we have portocaval anastomosis, and we will discuss subsequently a systemic anastomosis, which is very important clinically. So stay tuned for the videos, and in today's video I will complete the portal vein. Okay, so portal vein, what does the role it plays? Portal vein, so basically all the nutrients that are being absorbed from our food by the GIT is drained into the portal vein. Everything, nutrients, maybe some bacteria ingested through our food, drugs, certain drugs, all these are drained into the portal vein, and all the substances that is being absorbed is taken to the liver through the portal vein. So this is the major function. Now you may remember that if a certain drug is being ingested and through portal vein it is taken to the liver, then the liver cytochrome P450 system will tend to detoxify it. Okay, and certain amino acids which are taken, they must be taken into the protein synthesis, and if glucose is absorbed, then it may be used or it may be stored as the glycogen. So various function can be achieved through the portal vein, and in case the portal vein is not present or there is blockage, then it may lead to some important diseases. So let us discuss the portal vein. All the nutrient rich, I am saying nutrient rich blood from the pancreas, the spleen, the intestines, the stomach are together drained into the liver through portal vein. And in liver, be specific, liver sinusoids. And after this blood has been drained in the liver sinusoids, and subsequently oxygen and other function must be there, and hepatic artery also comes, and we will discuss it in liver anatomy. The liver sinusoids then drain it into some we call as interlobular veins, and these interlobular veins connect to form hepatic veins. And these hepatic veins then drain into inferior vena cava, and inferior vena cava then drains its deoxygenated blood into the right atrium, and from right atrium it is being transported to the lungs, and from the lungs oxygenation occurs and it will come to the left ventricle, and from there the oxygenated blood will be transported to the organs. So this is how all it works. Now let us discuss the origin, cause and termination of portal vein. So origin, cause and termination. Now the portal vein basically originates by formation or by joining of the superior mesenteric vein and splenic vein behind the neck of pancreas. This is very important, that superior mesenteric vein combines with splenic vein behind the neck of pancreas, and it leads to the formation of portal vein. And there is a very important diagram that everyone of you must know. Let me make it. I have made something bigger. This diagram will make your concepts very clear. Okay, here will be liver and stomach, as you know here. Here will be lie our stomach. Okay, and here will be some of our liver. This is a understandable diagram. This is our duodenum, this is the pancreas, and here will be our spleen. Spleen or spleen? Spleen. Okay? Spleen. Now, you know that here will be our what? अरे इसको तो बता दो यार. ये यहाँ खुलेगी मेजर ड्यूडेनल पेपिला में. क्या है इसका नाम? कुछ तो खुद बता दो. चलो पढ़ लें. ठीक. अब ये बेसिकली स्ट्रक्चर क्या है? ये क्या है? पेनक्रियास से क्या निकलेगा? पेनक्रियास से क्या निकलेगा? पेनक्रियाटिक juices through which duct? Duct of Warson. Okay. अब ये जो डक्ट है इसके अलावा हमारी क्या लाई करेगी? स्प्लीनिक वेन. यहां से निकली हमारी स्प्लीनिक वेन. ये हमारी स्प्लीनिक वेन है. ठीक है. ये रही हमारी स्प्लीनिक वेन. इस साइड से आ रही है हमारी सुपीरियर मेजेंट्रिक वेन, और इन्होंने बना दी पोर्टल वेन. समझ में आया आपको? दिस इज द नेक ऑफ पेंक्रियास or the origin of the neck of pancreas. Superior mesenteric artery and splenic artery joins to form portal vein behind the neck of pancreas. And in this diagram you can clearly see that on the basis of its position there can be three relations of portal vein. One, the relation that is lying below to the duodenum, that is infraduodenal relation. One that lies posteriorly to duodenum, that is retroduodenal relation, and one part which is lying above to the duodenum's first part. Okay, first part of duodenum. Okay, so this can be called as the supraduodenal relations. Now, one thing you must remember that the portal vein is anterior to inferior vena cava. So, any part of portal vein, its posterior relation will be formed by inferior vena cava. Okay. Now, the part which is inferior to duodenum, that is infraduodenal part of portal vein, the anterior relation, as you can see, is formed by the neck of pancreas. Okay. And retroduodenal relation, anteriorly you can see first part of duodenum, and posterior relation will be inferior vena cava. And supraduodenally you can have the relation which are the content of porta hepatis, that is hepatic artery and bile duct, because as you can see the portal vein, the hepatic artery and the bile duct basically get inside of the liver through a structure known as porta hepatis. So the structure lying in the porta hepatis apart from portal vein will lie in the anterior relation of portal vein. Okay, so these are the relations, and let us talk about its course. Course, as you can see, first of all it runs upward and to the right, upward and to the right, upward and to the right behind the neck of pancreas and first part of duodenum, and then it moves on the right corner of lesser omentum. This is the course, and it terminates by dividing into a left and a right branch in the porta hepatis. Origin, course and termination, we have discussed about its relation. Let's talk about its branches. So branches is a short right branch and a long left branch. And interestingly, the right branch is short but wider. Lumen is wide. But the left branch is longer, but its lumen is shorter. Okay, so this is the important thing you have to know. And what are its tributaries? As I earlier mentioned that its bring deoxygenated but nutrient rich blood from the spleen, from the pancreas, from the stomach. So its tributaries will be the veins coming from these structures. For example, stomach's gastric vein, left and right gastric vein will form a tributary, and the superior pancreatico-duodenal vein will also form its tributary. And what else? On the right branch, a cystic branch also forms its tributary. Cystic vein, okay? And on the left side, we have a branch known as the para-umbilical vein, okay? These para-umbilical veins lie along the ligamentum teres, okay? Another branch it gives along the ligamentum venosum, that is ductus venosus, which ultimately joins with the inferior vena cava, okay? I told you that there is a branch which is known as superior pancreatico-duodenal vein. You might be wondering that why inferior pancreatico-duodenal vein is not its tributary. This is because the inferior pancreatico-duodenal vein itself drains into the superior mesenteric vein, and superior mesenteric vein is what that is forming the portal vein. So this is the tributaries. Origin, course, termination, tributaries. We have talked about the relation. And what else? Clinical. Okay. The clinical anatomy is portal hypertension, and portal hypertension can be classified as pre-sinusoidal, sinusoidal, and post-sinusoidal portal hypertension. Now, what does the word portal hypertension means? Any hypertensive situation in which portal vein is involved is termed as the portal hypertension. Now, when we talk about the pre-sinusoidal portal hypertension, it means that there is a thrombosis or a blockage before liver is concerned, or hepatocyte is concerned, or liver sinusoid is concerned. That means the block lies in the portal vein itself, which is damming the blood and blocking the blood to enter the liver, and thus creating a backflow leading to hypertension. So portal vein thrombosis can cause pre-sinusoidal portal hypertension. Now, if there is liver cirrhosis, liver fibrosis, then the liver sinusoids would not allow the blood to enter them, and this will cause the blood flow backwards, and it will lead to portal hypertension. So this type of portal hypertension is sinusoidal, which is involving in liver cell damage, that is cirrhosis. The third is post-sinusoidal portal hypertension, in which the hepatic vein thrombosis or the blockage is in hepatic vein, that is after the liver sinusoid it is concerned. So this will cause the backflow and portal hypertension. Now, what are the effects of portal hypertension? Now you can clearly see, in case of portal hypertension, the nutrient-rich blood is not entering in the liver, that is amino acids which are required for the formation of various proteins is not available for the liver to make the proteins. So there will be protein deficiency, and one such protein is albumin. Albumin synthesis will also be hampered, and albumin, as you all know, that it is a very important component which acts as a binding protein for various substances, various hormones, and an important function of plasma protein is to maintain a blood colloidal osmotic pressure. Now, as albumin is deficient, the colloidal osmotic pressure will be decreased, and colloidal osmotic pressure prevents the flow of liquid, the flow of water into the interstitium. Okay, so when the albumin will be deficient, more fluid will be transported into the interstitium, and this will cause a lowering in blood pressure. This will send a signal to kidney for the fluid to retain, that is known as a fluid retention method of maintenance of BP. Now, as albumin is low, the retained fluid will also drain into the interstitium, and this will cause a very common condition which is known as ascites. Okay, so the main cause of ascites is the lack of albumin, and we although that there are a lot of cause of ascites apart from this portal hypertension, but what we can do or what we can check to tell or to diagnose that the portal hypertension is the cause of this ascites is that we can generally take the ratio of plasma albumin and the ascitic fluid albumin. If the ratio is increased, particularly if it is greater than 1.1 according to Vasudevan book, if it is greater than 1.1, then we can say that it is due to portal hypertension, because in portal hypertension albumin is not being made by the liver and its concentration is very less. So in the ascitic fluid, its concentration will also be lowered. So there will be an increase in the ratio of plasma albumin upon ascitic fluid albumin. Since this is decreased, so the ratio gets increased. This is the type of quantitative measure. Okay. So ascites due to portal hypertension, lack of glucose and other nutrients to liver, and since the detoxification is also occurring in the liver, the formation of urea cycle is also occurring in liver, and since the urea and the ammonia cannot be transported to the liver to form urea, there will be hyperammonemia in our blood, and this may lead to brain damage also. Okay, so these are the very important causes or the effects of portal hypertension, and in the subsequent lecture we will discuss about the portocaval anastomosis, that in case of portal vein blockage or portal hypertension, how our body responds to this condition. It is very important. So stay tuned for the next lecture.